Hey everybody, it's episode 63 of the DCC, and this week is super special because we have Kory from the No Midnight podcast with us, and I'm always nervous when he's on the show because he's a professional and it makes you realize how terrible you are at talking.
Hey, just because I get paid doesn't mean I'm a professional.
Yeah.
See? I couldn't even say that. Yeah, sweet. Profession. I'm going to drink water.
Well, it's also the Sacramento market, so it's not really important.
Wow.
We're going to talk
I think Skype's breaking up. I think I have to go.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Marvel, mostly Infinity War. There's some stuff still going on with Infinity War. It's crazy for it. It's super successful. And then we're going to talk a lot about Disney Parks news. There's some things I want to talk about. Kory is a parks person, and last time I had him on the show, I asked him a bunch of movie questions, and he kind of was like, I don't really know. Don't ask me that question. So this time we're going to talk about stuff that he likes talking about. So to all who come to this happy place, welcome to the DCC. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
We're gonna say hi again because we didn't say hi before. It's like I like to pretend that we weren't talking before.
Like you just turned it on.
Yeah,
and, hey,
we were just like, I like to pretend like I'm Chris Hardwick, and then just like people show up to my place and we just start talking, and then you're like, oh, is this on? And I was like, yeah, it is on.
Chris Hardwick. That's a good reference.
Yeah,
that's how a lot of our shows, with the exception of Wednesday nights, are recorded. We kind of we sit down and I just start recording and we go over what we're going to do. And then at some point it just becomes the show because I'm going to put new intros and outros on it anyway. So
right. Yeah, exactly. When you put like all
find the best point and go and roll from there, you know?
Yeah.
It helps you cut out a lot of crap too.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. But also you get to see the naturalness of how everyone is and kind of like the build up sometimes. Sometimes you find like really great moments. Like a lot of the times when Shannon and I are doing the show together, our best moments are like before the show. Yeah. and then they're gone.
And then they end up pre-roll.
Yeah. So how's work going for you? Like, you work at a radio station?
Work is good. It's been a very busy. We're in our what we call NTR season, non-traditional revenue season, where we're doing a lot of concerts and events. I'm actually, the second we get done taping this, I'm running out to go do stage introductions at one of our events, and it's busy. The whole springtime thing is pretty busy, but I hope it's going to slow down a little bit in the summer because it's too hot to be outside already.
It's too hot for penguins.
Yeah.
Do you find that being like a radio show host has helped you with your podcast, or has it maybe like almost created expectations that aren't being quite as fulfilled as you thought they would be?
Yes. Obviously, one thing, we're still very new to podcasting, and I don't claim that we're the best by any stretch of the imagination. NoMidnightPodcast.com. But what I will say is that the thing that I have been striving for from day one, and we did it to a certain degree, in the version 1.0 of the show, and then when we did the retheme and everything and built the studio and all that stuff, we've really pushed for it, is quality. So I think doing what I've done for so many years has given me an ear for quality. So that's super helpful. It also makes listening to podcasts very difficult because a lot of them are not quality. But to the negative side of it, yes, it has given me expectations that I've had to temper as to growth. I'm not a patient person. So as I'm watching the podcast grow, I'm kind of wondering, is it growing fast enough? Right. And I keep texting Josh, where were you at exactly 18 months in? I need to know. I'm just completely obsessed with our stats. So yeah, they've started to grow. We got a little boost this week, so that's been very helpful. But yeah, it's helpful when it comes to the content. It's not so helpful when it comes to the behind the scenes stuff.
Right. Yeah. Cause you're dealing with smaller numbers and the growth is all on you, and yeah, it's tough. And then you get this growth and then it'll just disappear for some reason. And you're like, why did all that growth just go away? Like why did people just all of a sudden stop listening? And then you've got a big team too. How many?
Yeah, we do, which it's really tough on them that I do this for a living because
Yeah.
it's like my level, my idea of what professionalism is. It is common sense to me, but it may not be to someone else. So there's
Right.
been a lot of teaching, but they've all really stepped up. Adam, Albie, Philly, of course, who's been with the show from day one. We just added Jack not too long ago, our young Padawan, if you will, and then most recently we added. None of us are getting paid, for the record. I just don't want it to sound like we've got a ton of money floating around. They're all voluntold positions.
Right.
And then we've added Dante, who is our Instagram reporter during the week at Disneyland. So we actually have someone in the park basically the entire week doing coverage, which is very helpful because the main part of the team that you actually hear on the show, we all live in Sacramento, California, which is 6 hours north of Disneyland. So
yes, yeah,
can't be down there every day.
Yeah. Well, and so you've got a benefit over that because it's hard navigating Nashville, Anaheim, and Vancouver. And
yeah, exactly.
Jack was somebody that almost joined Network 1901 as well, but we just had felt like at that time that we weren't in the position to add. We're still trying to but like we wanted to focus on our core, like our core identity first.
Yeah.
And we wanted there to be a separation between the four of us and who we add in the future, just as it comes to like the business model.
Right.
And it's just tricky to navigate. And so we just feel like at this time not to add anybody. But yeah, we're definitely like Jack is super talented. I love him. He's great. He's like has a great energy. We walked around when I was doing.
He's brilliant.
Yeah,
and he doesn't know it, which is awesome because you can mold that. You know.
Sometimes he knows it. And but so we were doing our like day at Disney, and he joined us, and that was a lot of fun to have him around. And he was funny because we're like eating these beignets, and he was like interviewing me while I was like eating like these blackberry beignets. So it was so funny. He's just so like happy to be a part of the
He's
squad.
An enthusiac fellow,
Yeah,
that is for sure.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, he brings a very. We're going to do something really exciting with him this summer. We actually have this is kind of an exclusive. I haven't talked about this on any of our shows, but young Jack is a junior in high school, so he's finishing up his junior year, going to move into summer break, and as soon as he gets settled into summer break, Jack's going to take over our YouTube channel for the summer.
Oh, fun.
And he's going to vlog, and we're going to drag him down to the parks and let him vlog there. And I'm a 35-year-old guy who's done radio my whole life. Like,
right.
I can vlog, I can edit, my videos are pretty okay, but he's way more in the demographic of people that are watching vlogs, and he's got an eye for it. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and it'll allow me a little bit more time to just focus on the podcast side of things as we're seeing record growth right now. But Jack will take over our YouTube channel this summer, so that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's
the summer of Jack.
It's something I've been thinking about too, when I look at our strengths and weaknesses as a group. And like for me, I really enjoy, like for me, when Josh and I kind of first talked about Network 1901 and creating it, for me, I'm excited about running a network as opposed to, like, I like creating content and stuff like that, but I like running the business. But I didn't really want to, like, for whatever reason, and I usually, when I have the opportunity, I thrust myself into leadership opportunities. But because it was friends, I wanted it to be more democratic. And I actually think that's like a big failing of ours. I think that is that there's not a Kory that says, nope, this is what we're doing. Well, yeah, and I think too, like, and Josh would say this as well, is like, I think they all just still thought of me as the de facto leader, but I had actively worked against trying to be the leader, and which makes you a terrible leader, Dale. It does make you a terrible leader when you do stuff like that. Well, because I was trying to it's like friends, and I didn't want to have to. I didn't think I wanted to have to do that, but then it kind of leaves you rudderless. It's like everyone kind of is wandering around trying to do their own thing, and And then when you kind of come in and you're like, oh, we need this direction, it's not really your place anymore to do that. So I just been thinking a lot about that, and I thought you would be a good person to talk to about that type of subject, because I know that you're probably a leader in almost all instances that you're involved in, just through life and stuff like that. As I was always captain.
Not
like
as much as you'd think, but I think naturally I lead.
Yeah,
At work I don't lead, but
no. But that's just a different atmosphere, and
very much so. But here our podcast started as just me and Philly because he was here. Right, Philly and I were in a relationship at the time. So it kind of just started with an idea that I had, and Philly was 100% supportive, and he's like, I'll do it with you, because I didn't want to try to talk for half an hour by myself. Now I could probably pull that off, but then I was very nervous about that first show, and then we had Simon, who joined the show and then subsequently left, and Adam joined the show right at the beginning, and then Albie came on and was helping us with behind the scenes stuff, and then he evolved into the process. But what I've done is I think of our podcast channel as a business, and you have the video programming side, which Jack is going to be taking over this summer. You have audio programming. That's my department. Anything that any audio piece that goes out on our channel has come across my desk. In fact, I'm the only one with a password to upload. So, like the buck stops aquí. So
some call that
everybody,
controlling, sure.
I put Albie and Billy are both brilliant artists, and so I'm putting them in charge of our merch store. We're launching a new merch store. So I've started, instead of it being a democratic process, I'm letting everybody do what their talents allow them to do. Mm-hmm. We all have our weaknesses. I can't design merch to save my life. I've had a couple of shirts that have done okay, and it was probably subject matter only or luck. So Albie and Philly are both brilliant artists when they're pushed to do it. So I'm pushing them to do it. And Jack is a brilliant, vlogger and editor. And so I'm pushing him. And Adam is a brilliant writer. And so I'm pushing him to write more. And I want to produce. So I think it's not democratic, but it works for us.
Yeah. And it's about figuring those things out. Josh just the other day was pushing me to help with like YouTube penetration. It just tends that when I release a video,
it's an awful word.
Yeah, but it just tends to be that when I release a video, that we tend to get like a lot of early views with it, and that doesn't seem to carry all the way through all the other videos, and just and we're just kind of talking about those types of things, and it's tricky because like you're trying to do it for fun and passion, but at the end of the day you have to be. As I said before, like we created our empire before we had it, and we have to like maintain it and run it, and Josh is trying to maintain and run another empire as well, and
quite successfully lately.
Yeah, right. And Shannon's graduating university and becoming a teacher, and of course she's doing it on the most accelerated pace as she possibly can,
because more reading.
Yeah, right. Yeah, more reading and more stress, and
you guys definitely have a unique situation there at Network 1901. Being at 3 different points in 2 different countries, on literally opposite ends of the continent for all of you, is a challenge. But you guys have managed to, at least. I mean, I'm friends with all of you guys, so I see a little bit of the behind the scenes, but forward facing, you guys seem completely cohesive. You always have.
Well, and I think
except for you and Josh's obvious sexual tension.
yeah, there is. It's funny actually how many I find that like when I become really close with a friend, often they'll like bromance with me. It's just been a trend.
You and I have a clear bromance.
Yeah. It's a little one-sided, but I just
wow.
Your heart is too. No, I broke your heart.
He says because his wife caught us commenting.
Yeah, that's funny. She loves all that stuff. She thinks it's so cute. It's. I think communication is like the key to cohesiveness, right? And whether or not it's always good communication, and like Shannon and I are having a difficult time working with each other right now, and that's just because like we're just. Is it
because of Raylo?
It's partially because it's what started it all. And I think it just, just little frustrations that you have with friends that you don't maybe always address, and then it kind of just is hard to move on sometimes. And and it just we're figuring it out though. Like I love Shannon, and like I couldn't care about somebody more of a person who like I've never lived with and is 11 years younger than me and of the opposite sex, right? So
it's a lot of caveats.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. Like, but I was one of the things that we've talked about is like we've built like this crazy bridge, and that's what we try to do with the network. Is we try to build a bridge for people to connect and not feel alone. And in most instances, and I'm sure there's listeners here, if your significant other was going into the room to talk to a 21-year-old,
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, right, and like creating this friendship over the internet with this like person of the opposite sex, like I'm sure a lot of people would, could feel like could feel insecure about it, but also like
it might raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, but like in most instances, Shannon and I shouldn't even be friends. There's no reason for it, and that's what's so great about the network, and that's what we try to do with the network is give people a place to connect with others. And when we were at D23, listeners met each other and became friends. They bonded over making fun of me, which was real fun for me. So it was, it's great. Like that's what you want when we do this thing. And for me, it was wanting to build a community, and I think you can with the videos that I like to make, it's funny because I don't even necessarily like to go with a video with an opinion. I like to go with a video with an idea. And often people will be like, your opinion's wrong. And I'm like, it's not an opinion. Like I clearly said it's not an opinion. It's an idea. We're like working this idea out together. Yeah. And
people get very defensive over their own stance on things. I think a stance is more an appropriate term than an opinion, because when you're having a debate on something, you have to take a stance. Otherwise, there's nothing to listen to. We have our Disney Pixar bracket shows up right now. Episodes 1 and 2 are up on the archive, and it's literally 35 minutes of us arguing, so to speak, but it's like a civil discourse. We all have a stance, and you may not like any of our stances, but I mean, you don't like it, don't listen to the show.
Right. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. I think when you're trying to create something, you're like, oh, what will people like? But really, at the end of the day, they just have to like us, and then hopefully we talk about the things that we like to talk about in an interesting way.
Well, and even though when you get to a point, we're all working to hopefully get to a point where we can do this full time for a living.
Yes.
And of course, Josh is the one that's actually doing it, and I love him and hate him for it. But when you get there, you have to remember that you put in so many years of sacrifice and so many years of financial sacrifice. This stuff's not cheap to do. This equipment's not free. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it breaks, and you have to replace it, and then you leave cameras in your hotel room like an idiot. Things happen. So but you have to remember that all that time and sweat equity you put in before it became a business means that you should never stop having fun doing this.
Right.
Because that was the whole point. And that's something Philly's very good at reminding me of that every now and then when I'm obsessing over stats and, we didn't have as many hits today as we did yesterday. I hope something, I'm that guy. He goes, just remember why you're doing this. Have fun with it. Right. He goes, the fun is working, so have fun.
Well, yeah, Josh had to bring it in perspective for me because for a couple months ago, we were at a point where we were getting like 100 subscribers a day on YouTube.
It was wild. Yeah. I was watching.
And then it just kind of started to slowly trickle down, and you're like, okay, and you're like, okay, well, we're not engaging the audience, and you just start obsessing about it. And Josh was like, you have to remember, a year ago, it would go like we went like months without even one subscriber gain. Like the fact that we're down to maybe 10 a day that's huge.
Still pretty good. Yeah, a year ago we would have killed for 10 a day. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But we always forget where we came from, right? Like it's always, like we never remember that we were poor little boys or something like that. We always think we are who we are now.
Well, and being a content creator and doing, you and I, we essentially do the same thing. We create content and we're trying to turn it into something great, and we're building communities, and it's awesome. But one of the things I've been doing in my personal life lately is I've been studying Buddhism and Buddhist meditation. And one of the things it talks about that has really helped me with this is that you need to live in the moment, not so much live towards your goals. It's important to have goals, but if you're always focused on your goals, you may not realize that you've already arrived. That this moment that you're in right now is what you asked for.
Right. Yeah. I had said to my wife the other day where I was like, I probably if I spent as much time making videos as I did about obsessing about my views, I probably would be doing better. Right?
It's true. Don't get too caught up in the business until you have to get caught up in the business.
Yeah. But it's tough,
and then hire somebody to handle that.
Yeah, right. But yeah. Well, we're coming in at a weird time. I think that we're coming in, and I think that we have a certain level of quality and professionalism about us, but the market's so saturated, it's hard to be discovered. And I think when people do discover us, I think they enjoy us, and I think they connect with us. But it's that initial discovery phase, which is difficult.
It is hard. Yeah, we're very much in the middle of that right now.
Yeah, and then too, like I even think like when I think about you or Story Geeks and stuff like that, all these people that we get along with, it's like, why are we like? I have these thoughts. I'm always like, why are we separate? Why are we all not like working together? And then we are in some ways, but we're like separately together.
Yeah. I told Josh I fully anticipate a day where we just say screw it and just merge the two.
Yeah, we'll just merge. Yeah. It's just going to be like this huge,
we'll just keep absorbing people until we're just like this content creation conglomerate.
75 person, and it'll just be like Kory and Dale beefing all the time over leadership. That would be just basically.
Well, that wouldn't be much different than the way it is
now. Except for I'm just jealous that you could spend so much time with my Joshikins.
Joshikins? Yeah, we love Joshy Poo.
I'm curious, were you spared by Thanos? Have you gone to did Thanos kill.me? Have you gone to that yet?
I'm about to hit enter on the URL. I have not done it yet.
Because you only get to do it once.
I was slain by Thanos for the good of the universe.
I was spared by Thanos. So you can go
So I'm dead. Yeah, end of show.
You're dead. So you can go to
Dale, I don't feel very good.
Kill me.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry. You can go to didthanos.me. The link will be in the description and everything like that, and you'll find out if Thanos spared you or killed you. It's great. It's pretty simple, and it won't refresh. Like, if you're dead, you're dead. That's the one thing I like about it.
I just tried it.
Yeah, you're like, no, spare me.
Still slain.
Still spare me. No, sorry, you're slain. But that's okay. When Captain America sacrifices his life somehow to bring everyone back to life, then it'll all be okay. Like, the biggest, I think, foreshadowing there, we don't trade lives unless it's mine. Because I'm Captain America. Did you like Infinity War?
Captain America. I loved it. I think I've put it away in the trauma department of my brain. I have not ever gone and seen, with the exception of Guardians, I have not gone and seen any of like the Avengers movies in the theaters. I haven't done it. Just hasn't really been my thing. Yeah. I'm busy trying to build a podcast. I spend every waking moment in the studio. Having said that, I was blown away by the film. But as you know, are we trying to be spoiler free, or can we talk about spoilers?
It's been a bit, but do your best to make it spoiler.
Okay. That person they offed in that first scene.
Oh yeah.
Was the one I was the most excited to watch and enjoy in the movie, and I was like, "Oh, great!"
Yeah.
So, there goes my favorite character, gone at the top of the film.
Yeah, right. Because I kind of thought that that character may have joined Thanos, but yeah, it did not happen.
Yeah, because he's got like. I'm not too up on the rest of the event. This one we can talk about all day, but the rest of the story, I kept having to lean over to Albie and go, "Now who's that?" on a couple other people.
Thor Ragnarok, I think, was an important Marvel movie to watch for this, and Really, like maybe like Captain America: Civil War. You could have probably just watched those two, and you would get the general gist of what was going on, like more of the background.
I'm just gonna have to watch all of them. Is what I'm gonna have to do.
You can skip Iron Man.
I'm gonna have
2.
to get caught up. That's what happened with Guardians. I saw Volume 2 before I saw Volume 1.
Oh, really?
Like, I gotta go back and see Volume 1. This is
Volume
amazing.
1, and they're both so good. I love those a lot. I want to talk about some parks news with you because there's some interesting stuff happening. Disney was thinking about going to a $15 minimum wage by 2021, and my very first thought was, cast members don't get paid $15 an hour yet? What is happening?
No.
Like,
it's
it's probably one of the most difficult customer service jobs that you could possibly ever have. It's super high scrutiny, super high expectations, and it is relentless. How are they getting minimum wage?
It's ridiculous. I don't know. I have several. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I have a couple of friends that work for the Disney company on both coasts that are miserable. Well, they're broke.
That's my point exactly. The fact that you can't even mention their names because they might get in trouble, like that level of scrutiny, and they don't even get $15 an hour.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I mean, it could get people in very real trouble. You know. So, but yeah, it's like these. We all have the friends who always seem to be in that, and God knows I had my years in this, but always seem to be in that financial death spiral where it's like, oh, I'm doing really well and something happened and now I'm broke, and and that's cast members. That's their life. Right. That's what the frontline cast members are barely able to get by. And it's maddening because it's like, I wish we could do something about it. And I guess by speaking about it, that's helpful. But as we accepted, we are all imperfect. And I mean, when we talked about this very thing on the No Midnight podcast, all of us were like, we're still not going to stop going. You know, it's like, so we're not, are we willing to give up the thing we love so much and protest? And would it work? That's the other question.
Right. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of moving pieces and stuff like that, and is the person at the ticket taker really like, do they, should they be getting $15 an hour to sit there but they're the first experience really.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to go stand in the hot sun for less than, even in the shade for less than $15 an hour.
The custodial group has to be super on it, and it has to be clean, and they have to like not be seen.
And they have to do it all while wearing white from head to toe and not getting dirty. Like, tell me how that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just like weird things like that where it's very disappointing. Obviously this is not a surprise to everybody, but like how the corporate world is structured, and like a CEO has these huge obscene bonuses, and the employees can't even get $15 an hour. It's really disappointing. It disappoints me a lot, actually.
No, it really is. It is. Yeah. You look at record profits. You look at a CEO who I like Bob Iger, and I would like to continue liking Bob Iger.
Right.
But this thing is a stain on his legacy. This is a stain, and it's going to be a stain.
Yeah, like, you make movies about being progressive, and you talk about all these things and like being inclusive and stuff like that, but the financial gap between bottom and top is obscene. And
it is obscene, and it's wider than it's ever. That gap's wider than it's ever been.
Well, and like any and it's part of the economy, of course. Like but a good economy is when that gap is smaller, but the bottom is higher, and it's just, that's just the way it is. It's just that's facts. Like, there's no debating it. It's not political. It's just people need to have money to spend money, and that's good for the economy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true. It is. But somehow we keep getting, trickle down economics,
which is
reinstated, and it's not a thing. It doesn't work.
That's never existed. Trickle up economics is always how it's worked, and if the base doesn't have enough money, then it doesn't really trickle up.
And let me be clear about this. I don't want to speak for anybody but me personally, so just talking about Kory. I do fine, and I do better than my life would lead you to think. I've done well. I'm blessed. But I think it's people that are in a position where they have a platform like you and I,
right,
or people that are doing better and can afford to donate to causes that need to. It's our voice that's going to help them, because without us, bringing attention to them, they don't have a voice. For sure.
Well, and like, for example, a few years ago, I was making quite a lot of money, and I got bought out at my company, and I was struggling. Like last year, I was really poor, like really, really, really poor. I lost a lot of weight.
Like hawking the microphone in between shows. Like
I sold every spare microphone I had. I sold every statue I had. I sold comic books that I had. I was selling everything that I had ever collected, really. And it was tough, because it's tough to recover from that type of thing and adjust your livelihood, and but because of the type of government that I have, I was able to receive a pretty healthy EI until I found another job. And then I was an apprentice, but the apprentice programs, like, they give you grants and incentives. When I was going to school for my first year, I was receiving, I was being paid. I was receiving EI while I was going to school, and and I wouldn't have been able to do that in other countries, not to name countries. I was able to afford groceries and stuff like that because of it, and actually purchase a home while that was all happening. And I live in one of the most expensive cities in North America. Like, all the prices everywhere are Disneyland prices for everything. Like, I came to that realization.
You don't have Disneyland.
Yeah, I don't. Everything's Disneyland prices, and we don't have a Disneyland. And it was tough. And also too, like, and that was the first time I had experienced that personally. Like, as a child, I grew up when I lived with my mother. I grew up on welfare, and that helped me strive to become someone who, like, when I was 14, got a job, and I always just kept making money and always tried to earn more money. And so I'd never been really financially stressed until that time, and it was tough. And when you try to find a job, even when I found my first job as an apprentice, I was $14 an hour as an electrician, and it's nothing. It really isn't anything. Like, you have to work a lot to even crack $1,000 paycheck. It's tough. We shouldn't expect people to have to fight so hard for the bare necessities.
I can't imagine it. I think about the median income for someone my age just in the city that I live in. If that's what I was making, I would certainly be struggling.
Yeah.
I would, like, seriously. I think about it and I'm like, I shudder, because I'm like, where would I live on that?
Right.
I certainly couldn't keep my car.
Right.
Certainly, like, and those are the sacrifices that people, and this isn't just Disney. Disney's getting a lot of flack for it because there's, the unions and all the strikes and stuff right now. But I mean, this is systemic across the industry.
Right.
The theme park industry is just notoriously low paying.
Well, and just Disney's one of those companies that kind of leads the way. We look to them for the future. So, it's kind of frustrating. So, but once you go to the parks, one thing to remember though. So if you're going to the parks and no matter how cranky you may feel at a moment, just remember that person that you're talking to that you might be getting cranky at, they can't get cranky at you and have probably more reasons to be cranky. So be kind to our cast members.
Totally. And use we always encourage this on our show. Use the cast compliment hashtag. If you see a cast member doing something great in one of the parks, tweet it at Disneyland Today, or I think it's WDW Today, and use the hashtag cast compliment. They do seek them out and reward them when they get those.
Well, and also too, a lot, unless it's like completely egregious, keep your complaints to yourself. Really, like like the odd complaint here and there, like, because they take them so seriously. Yeah, it's very unfair. And negative comments are really actually recognized a lot more than positive comments. This is the way we seem to work as a world. I don't know why. And so just try to keep it positive, right? Like, try to point out good stuff, not always bad stuff.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to go see, like, some of the construction for Pixar Pier? Because you were down in Disneyland pretty recently.
Yeah, it's looking
stuff.
great down there.
Yeah,
it's looking really great.
Are you excited about it? Like, is that like were you for Pixar Pier and or is it starting to win you over if you weren't?
Yeah, I think Paradise Pier needed something. It was cute, but it felt very afterthought to me. And I think this will give it a real reason to exist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's looking great. It's very bizarre seeing Mickey's Fun Wheel, soon to be the whatever they're calling it. I can't remember.
Luxo Ball Wheel
but
or something.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird seeing it. It's blue. It's like bluer than my shirt, like blue. And it's trippy. It's very weird if you're used to seeing it one way. Right. I saw that just driving by property, and I saw the wheel, and I was like, that is definitely not a white wheel anymore. That is very,
And the Incredicoaster, is there going to be like images inside the red tubes and things like that?
I think so.
Yeah, because otherwise it's
I've even heard of there's going to be the animatronics at the front.
Yeah.
In the house.
Right.
But then I've heard there might even be an animatronic in one of the tubes too.
Ooh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, because that's kind of what I was thinking it would need for that type of thing, Otherwise, it's just like you're just taking away the coolness of the open space if you just put
totally
red tubes everywhere. I'm really excited about it. I've always the whole pier area was confusing for me because Disneyland was specifically created as an anti-carnival feel, and so the idea was to then create a carnival in Disneyland. It was like, okay, sure. I feel like you're missing the point.
Let's be honest. This was during Michael Eisner's not so brilliant days. That idea came to be.
Man, I'm surprised that they were able to really save DCA because it's a great park now.
Yeah, I enjoy being over there. I have 3 tiers. If Disneyland's too busy, I'll pop over to DCA.
Right.
If DCA is too busy, not. DCA is the last chance before I leave property.
What do you feel about Marvel Land coming to DCA?
I'm excited for it. I'm curious to see what exactly it's going to be because their space back there is very limited. But I think they can turn it into something cool. I don't like it as much as the idea that I had heard, which was going to take it from where Guardians is all the way into the transportation loop. But that went away when the Eastern Gateway project went away. So they're kind of like, well, we'll kill Bugs Land and use this parking lot back here for show buildings. And that's basically what they're going to do. I
really wish that monorail would take you somewhere in DCA. Right.
It would be really helpful if they added a station. But I think the issue they run into is having it drop off inside a park. Yeah. Is a problem. If it didn't drop off inside Disneyland, if it just dropped off at the front gate, and then at the front gate of, I guess it wouldn't make sense to go from front gate to front gate, right? DCA to Disneyland, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know because they're worried about the park hopper.
Yeah.
You could have a specific car that was that you had to scan your pass to get onto the I don't know. You could have a cast member there who scans it just to make sure everyone has a park hopper who gets into a specific monorail car, and then that car stops there and it only lets off that one car.
That sounds like a lot.
It does sound like a lot.
If I'm a Disney board member, I'm like, no.
But it would be as a park hopper person, what I usually get is it would be nice to be able to go from Tomorrowland to Pixar Pier.
Yeah,
because that would save you probably a half an hour.
Come on, Disney, we need portals. Yeah. Can we just want to be able to go from Frontierland to Cars Land without having to walk over there?
Yeah, so Marvel Land, I'm excited about it. I think it's good for it. I want to keep Marvel out of Disneyland, but I also thought they would keep Pixar out of Disneyland as well. But they kind of are adding Pixar stuff in there still, which is okay. But I kind of like the idea of DCA being Pixar Marvel and Disney being Disney Star Wars. Do you think they're gonna get rid of the this Star Tours attraction once?
I would imagine so. Yeah. It maybe not right away, because they're gonna need every attraction possible open to eat those crowds.
Yeah.
I would say within a few years, within 5 years, it'll be gone.
Do you retheme it? Or do you get rid of it
maybe?
and just
I mean,
completely make something different?
they have. I know that this would be Marvel, but they have what the that was Star Tours, and was it Iron Man, the Iron Man attraction, in Hong Kong,
right?
Yeah. So I mean, they do have something they could plug into that space. You know, they could also, you know, continue with their plan to eat up the rest of Hollywoodland, and, you know, easily put that in the Monsters show building.
Yeah.
Move the Star Tours vehicles over and put the Ant-Man attraction there. And I mean, that's a pretty simple build out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, something has to be done with Tomorrowland, that's for sure.
Well, from what I'm hearing, obviously Star Wars Land is first, followed by the hotel project. The hotel project will start before Star Wars Land opens. As far as inside the parks, you have Marvel Land is next on deck. That'll get done. We're just talking about the Southern California parks here. Marvel Land will get done, followed by New Fantasyland, which could see the end of Toontown. So keep an eye on
that would be amazing to like add Snow White, the Snow White ride, the Minecart ride and stuff.
Yeah,
think?
Well, that from what
Beauty
I've
and the
heard,
Beast, Castle.
You'll see Storybook Land Canal Boats and Casey Jr. Circus Train gone.
Yeah,
probably Toontown and the Magic Map Theater gone. So they're going to expand Fantasyland north. They can build another theater. That's nothing. They did for Lion King. They were like, we need this space, so we built you a brand new theater over there.
Right.
Talking about Animal Kingdom. So the Marvel Land construction will be next, followed by the Fantasyland, which will go all the way back, probably to the railroad tracks. Behind the railroad tracks, the Toontown, I'm hearing Star Wars expansion.
Okay, save that for Star Wars expansion. Yeah.
So that would be interesting. And then after Fantasyland's done, Tomorrowland's next on the list.
That's interesting. I feel like Tomorrowland needs it more, but Fantasyland is pretty limiting, and it's the most little kid focused. They just redid Dumbo. Actually, they added like an undercover for the queue, which is nice. So people don't have to roast away in the hot,
really, really great.
hot sun.
Yeah, they prefer the children not to pass away before they get on the ride.
Yeah. Pass away.
I was trying to think of the most random.
That's
term
what you
for
say
death
when like old people,
die,
not little kids.
They like the kids.
Little
to
kids
not
don't
die
pass away. Yeah. You're never like, how's Jude doing? Oh, he passed away. It's like, what?
It was his time.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's funny. You're hilarious. So what's in the future for No Midnight? What's like your number one goal for yourself right now?
Our number one goal for ourselves right now is just to continue on the path we're on, frankly, to continue to grow, to continue growing our brand awareness. Brand awareness is the most important thing right now. Getting eyes and ears on our product. So working with some other podcast channels on some exciting possible future stuff. That's all I can really say at this point. But the future is very bright. Later this year, we're doing. We've been offered booth space in exchange for hosting panels, and we've been offered access to guests at both SAC Anime here in Sacramento and MouseCon in Concord, California. So we will be doing lots of content from there and selling merch. And I feel like those two events combined with a lot of the collaboration we're doing with other people is really going to help make 2018 our year. I think the place that we're going to be this time next year will be unrecognizable.
Yeah, like that's a good goal to have. You have to have that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just are, 400 episodes into a podcast that just is trucking along.
Yep, you have to have a goal.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're a busy man, and we really appreciate you coming on the show. It's so nice to have you and catch up with you. And what's the best place for people to, if they want to follow you specifically, or at No Midnight?
If you want to follow me specifically, go to facebook.com/it's Kory, ITSKORY, or Kory on the radio on Instagram and Twitter. And then for No Midnight Podcast, you can go to nomidnightpodcast.com. You can follow us at Tweet No Midnight on Twitter and No Midnight Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. So we are if you just Google No Midnight Podcast, you will find all of the things.
Oh, Google, you say?
Yes. Type it into your Google machine.
Sweet. Well, with that, this has been episode 63 of the DCC, and I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away. Thanks for joining us. We love you. Make sure to hit like, share, and comment. I make sure I reply to everything. Have a good one. Bye, double hand wave.
I don't have a thing.